Okay, welcome to the first lecture in the economics of COVID. Uh, I just want to talk a little bit about who I am. I'm a Professor Sarah Gunderson. I've been at Valparaiso University since 2011. My field is developing nations, so developing countries. My research is in Africa and the Gambia. I also have published on teaching economics. But basically at Valpo, we're a pretty small school, so we kind of have to teach a little bit of everything, which is great when it comes time to teaching a class like this. Uh, because when we talk about COVID and the COVID recession and the inflation afterward, we have to do a little micro stuff, we have to do a little macro stuff, we have to talk about race issues and gender issues. So it's a pretty fun class for me to teach. I have taught, it looks like half of you. I taught you guys micro in the fall, which was super fun. And I know Professor Devaraj taught quite a few of you in the spring, macro. And we both love teaching you. You're actually motivated to learn, maybe a little more than undergrads. And it's just really fun. You bring a really cool perspective. So I'm super excited about this class. And just a little background about why I would teach it. So COVID hit, right? We were at home. I was actually pregnant with my second child. So it was actually kind of fine with me. I was like, okay, I can teach from bed. That sounds great because I was very sick. Um, but it was really frustrating because I was teaching macro at the time and the economy was just imploding, right? And so like the Federal Reserve met randomly, not even at a regularly scheduled time, cut the federal funds rate basically to zero. Stock market crashed. We're getting these crazy reports. We had an unemployment report of 14.7%. And I'm like trying to record these videos. You guys, this is a really big deal. And it was just really frustrating because I couldn't teach people in person. So it occurred to me that I wanted to do so. I wanted to teach the class in person. And so I reached out to Professor Devaraj, my chair, and she was awesome because people had actually already started registering for classes and she let me switch it. So I canceled the class I was going to teach and I fit in this class, the economics of COVID, and it was in the fall of 2020 in person, believe it or not. But I was just really interested in doing this because I feel like I kind of missed the boat on the financial crisis. So I started teaching college level classes in 2007, in the fall of 2007. And I was really young, very not experienced at all. And then, so the first time I was teaching macro, the financial crisis hit. It was at the College of the Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts. And these students were staying after class, like, Professor, can you please tell us what's going on? And, I did my best, but I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. So I just really felt like, this COVID economy was happening, and I really wanted to dive into it. So this is my second time teaching the class. The first time I taught the class, we were still very concerned about being in a recessionary gap, which I'll talk about in a bit. But now we're in a totally different situation, right? Now we have inflation. We've clearly gotten out of this recession. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how things have evolved. But I just want to take a little bit and go through some logistics. I typically don't respond to emails sent after 7. I would imagine you guys do the same, especially in the summer. Oh my gosh. And if you want to meet with me, it's just all by appointment. I'm happy to meet with you guys whenever. Not after 7, probably. So in the course, you're going to become experts in how the COVID pandemic has affected the U.S. economy. This includes the recession, the government and Federal Reserve policies, specific markets, along with projected long-run impacts. And you'll notice I also added in a little bit about the 2021 to 2022 inflation. We've got very cool learning objectives. I'll let you guys read those on your own. There's no required textbook. Textbooks have done a decent job of updating with COVID, but there's no textbook that's going to do this justice. I think we'll be fine with external readings. I am going to be using something called Perusal, which is you don't have to pay for. It's a free website, free for now. It was actually started by Eric Mazur. I think he was at Yale. I saw him present at a teaching conference, and I was very impressed with this software. because I don't know about you guys, but my biggest challenge is getting students to actually read stuff. And you'll see it's a way to make reading social, and it's a way to actually see who's done the readings. But you'll go to this website, perusal.com, and you'll type in this code and you'll be able to find the class. One thing I love about this class is that there's no exams. And in fact, I didn't have exams the first time I taught it either. I wanted the class to be more of like a researchy based, doing readings, brainstorming together. And I just thought exams would make it stressful. The only way to teach a class like this while it's happening is to be flexible. For example, before class one day, the real GDP numbers came out and GDP grew at like 33%. You're actually going to read this. I had to drop what I was doing that day, right? I had to talk about that. So what I did in the class is I asked questions that I didn't know the answers to. And one of the questions was, when did the recession end? One of the questions was, what is going to happen to the racial wealth gap because of COVID? Things like this. And I just don't think having exams is a way to be conducive to nice discussions like this. So I've kept it for you guys. It's also the summer, right? Do you really want to be taking exams? So you've got two projects, macroeconomic analysis and an industry interview and analysis. And then I've actually added in a specific assignment for you guys on a lesson plan. It's a lesson plan on inflation. If you took my class last time, one of the complaints was that you guys kind of had to watch each other's lesson plans, and it took a while to make that worthwhile, if it ever became worthwhile. You don't have to be looking at each other's lesson plans unless you feel like you want to share them. This is really just for you. And it's really for you to demonstrate to me that you understand inflation and you're applying it to your classroom. And then 20% of your grade is discussions and weekly assignments on perusal. And actually, you can look at my grading policies. I'm going to be flexible though. I mean, this first week's materials are due on the 22nd of May. If you're finishing classes or you've got something going on, just send me an email and say, hey, professor, can I turn this one in late? That's fine. I need to be flexible with you guys. I'll let you guys read through the rest of this. But I am going to take a moment and pull up your projects. So the first project is an analysis of the recession, the nature of the recession. Basically, what you're going to be doing is you're going to have a report, and you can write it as a report or you can write it as a paper. I really don't care. But the first part is you're going to answer, how did the 2020 recession compare with the financial crisis recession? You're expected to address real GDP, unemployment, and inflation. And you'll note here that I have BEA.gov and BLS.gov. A lot of us use FRED in our classes, and I will today actually. But when we're writing a report, we need to go to the primary source, which is BEA and BLS. So that's the first part. How did it compare? It was much steeper and much shorter. I'll tell you that much right now. And then you're going to choose one of the questions, 2 or 3. One is an evaluation of the fiscal stimulus, and I think you can focus just on the CARES Act and the 2021 stimulus. There were little stimulus payments in the middle. Those were the big ones, 2.2 trillion, 1.9 trillion. Was it effective, too large, or too small? If we're in this position again, what should the U.S. government do differently? Note that this is only 3 to 5 pages. You're not going to do a perfect job of evaluating the CARES Act. I actually had my TA read the stimulus bill, the 2021. I didn't have her, she just chose to. That thing was like 50 pages long. Generally speaking, did this thing work? And then number 3 is your other option, which is an evaluation of the Federal Reserve's actions. Again, you could write a 20-page paper summarizing these, so I'd suggest choosing 3 to 5 and evaluating them. So everyone's going to do number 1. You can choose between 2 and 3, and then number 4 is just a general analysis. How bad was it? Could it have been worse? Did the government handle it well? Your paper is going to be 6 to 10 pages. I have a little rubric here that you're welcome to. I have Bloomberg on here. It's actually Brookings. I have to change it. A little rubric. You're welcome to take a look at it. but that's the first project. And that's going to be due toward the end of the semester to provide flexibility for you guys. Project 2 is an interview, so I want to bring this up on the first lecture so that you can start thinking about who you're going to interview. But basically, you're going to interview someone on an industry. The first time I taught this, one of my international students didn't have someone to interview. I actually put her in touch with a waiter friend of mine, like a server in Chicago. Really interesting interview. But if you don't have someone to contact, you can reach out. I've got some people. But basically, you're going to be talking about how their industry changed with COVID. And then you're going to supplement that with an industry analysis. I'm actually teaching an MBA class at the moment, and I'm doing something similar, and I'm getting some really cool reports here. So that's the other one. The inflation lesson plan is something else. I think I'm running short on time. So I'm actually going to just talk about the deadlines of those two. So if we look at the schedule, my goal is to have everything posted before the semester starts. We'll see if that happens. But the things you need to keep in mind is that the lesson plan and inflation is due June 5th, and I have the projects due June 18th. I would love if you would submit those projects earlier. I actually have a family trip to Iceland planned on the 24th, no, the 22nd. So I want to get stuff done a little early. But you have the whole semester to be working on these things. Okay, so I'm going to stop this now, and then I'm going to pick up the next video, which is actually, I'm going to start talking about the PowerPoint for the week. Okay, I was lying about that. I have a few minutes left. So Screencast-O-Matic cuts me off after 15 minutes, which I actually think is great, because who needs to lecture for that long with no break? I have a few minutes. I'm just going to pull up this inflation lesson plan just so you can hear me talk about it. So basically with this, you're going to address two of the reasons our inflation's interesting. Number one, there's a supply shock stemming from the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Number two, there's supply chain issues. Number three, there's also demand pull inflation driven by low unemployment and high spending. Number four, there's a difference between inflation for goods and services. A lot of the demand pull inflation was driven by durable goods and not services. And then there's a difference between regular CPI and the core CPI. I was actually just reading an article this morning that I'm going to assign you, criticizing the Federal Reserve. And they point to this difference here, the fact that our core CPI is high, to indicate, hey, this is demand pull inflation. The Fed should have done a better job, which is actually heartbreaking to me because I love our Federal Reserve. Basically, you're going to create a lesson plan for two of those things. So I've given you some examples if you read through it. In addition to the lesson plan, you're going to write a brief 1 to 2 page write-up about how you plan to use it, evaluate it, and see any potential problems you might anticipate. But basically, I want it to be some sort of interactive activity. And you guys have way better ideas than I do about how to involve high school and junior high students. So that's the other, it's 20% of your grade. That's the other major assignment. And I have that due June 5th, just because we're covering inflation early in the semester. Now I will actually stop and move on to the first lecture.